In the heart of a laboratory that hummed with the secrets of the cosmos, Dr. Aries Thorne, known to her colleagues simply as Myra, stood on the precipice of a discovery that would rewrite the very definition of existence. Around her, holographic projections danced, swirling galaxies, shimmering nebulae, and abstract, impossible gateways of light. Years of tireless research, fueled by an insatiable curiosity, had led her to this singular moment. The data streaming across her screens confirmed the impossible. Our universe was not alone. We were but one page in an infinite cosmic library, a single thread in a vast, interwoven tapestry of parallel worlds. The theories were no longer just theories. The multiverse was real. And Myra had just found the key. With a deep breath that barely contained the tremor of excitement and fear, Myra initiated the sequence. Before her, the air shimmered, twisted, and tore open, revealing a swirling vortex of color and light, a portal. This was it, the first step into the unknown. Stepping through was like plunging into an ocean of pure energy. Sensation overloaded her, then abruptly ceased, replaced by the scent of damp earth and alien flora. She had arrived. Her first world was a paradise of untamed, breathtaking beauty. Gigantic, bioluminescent trees reached for a sky with twin suns, casting an ethereal glow on flora that pulsed with life. Rivers flowed with liquid silver, and mountains floated like majestic islands in the sky. But paradise had its price. Myra soon learned that the most beautiful flowers secreted deadly neurotoxins, and the graceful, bird-like creatures that soared overhead were actually silent, territorial predators. Every step was a dance with hidden danger, a stark reminder that beauty and peril are often two sides of the same coin. This world taught her vigilance, to look beyond the surface and respect the raw, untamed power of nature in its purest form. Her next jump catapulted her into a starkly different reality. A sprawling, chrome-plated metropolis stretched to the horizon, its towers piercing a sky perpetually veiled in a synthetic haze. Maglev vehicles zipped silently along invisible pathways, and robotic servants catered to every need of the city's inhabitants. It was a world of perfect efficiency, a marvel of technological advancement. Yet, it was utterly soulless. The people moved with a listless, programmed grace, their faces devoid of emotion, their interactions mediated by screens and algorithms. There was no art, no laughter, no spontaneous joy. In this sterile utopia, Myra felt an oppressive loneliness she had never known. It was a world that had traded its heart for convenience, a chilling vision of progress without humanity. The third world was the most unsettling. It was a distorted echo of her own, a funhouse mirror reflection of her home. The streets were familiar, yet twisted. Buildings leaned at impossible angles. The sky was a sickly yellow. And the people, they were there, but not. They were like ghosts, repeating fragments of conversations she'd heard, reenacting memories that were hers, but warped and broken. It was here, in this uncanny valley of a world, that she found the first concrete clues. Faint energy signatures, fractures in the fabric of this reality, all pointed to a single, malevolent source. A pattern began to emerge, a creeping realization that these worlds weren't just different, they were being destabilized. A threat was looming, one that didn't just endanger one reality, but all of them. Following the trail of cosmic decay, Myra navigated the fractured pathways between dimensions. The clues led her to a nexus point, a place outside of conventional spacetime where all realities converged. And there, she found it, the source of the corruption. It wasn't a monster or an alien conqueror in the traditional sense. It was a being of pure consciousness, an entity that existed simultaneously across multiple realities, viewing them not as homes to sentient beings, but as resources to be consumed. It called itself the Architect of Silence, and its goal was to collapse the entire multiverse into a single, static point of non-existence, a perfect, silent singularity it could control. It saw the messy, chaotic nature of life and free will as a flaw to be corrected. The confrontation began. But this was no battle of fists or energy blasts. It was a war of intellect, a clash of wills fought across the shifting landscapes of pure thought. The architect threw paradoxes at her, forcing her to navigate logical impossibilities. It warped her perceptions, trapping her in simulations of her deepest fears and regrets. The scenery around them flickered and transformed, from the heart of a dying star to the edge of a black hole, from the first moment of creation to the last whisper of entropy. Myra held on, her mind her only weapon. She countered its cold, nihilistic logic with the chaotic, beautiful, and undeniable power of life. She used her knowledge not to destroy, but to understand, weaving her own logic, her own belief in potential and possibility, into the very fabric of their mental battlefield. She didn't fight its power, she redirected it, showing it the flaw in its own perfect design, that true perfection lies not in stillness, but in infinite, glorious change. Overwhelmed by a concept it could not compute, the value of imperfection, the architect's consciousness fractured, its influence over the multiverse dissolving like smoke. The battle was won, but the war for reality was not over. The architect's meddling had left deep scars on the fabric of the multiverse. Dimensional barriers were weakened, and cosmic energies bled between worlds, threatening to tear them apart. Exhausted but resolute, Myra set to work. She was no longer just an explorer, she was a mender, a healer of realities. Using the knowledge she had gained, she journeyed back through the world she had visited, and countless others. We see her stabilizing the connection to the world of untamed nature, reinforcing the metaphysical boundaries of the solar city, and gently untangling the temporal knots of the echo world. She wasn't just fixing the damage, she was reinforcing the very structure of existence, ensuring the unique integrity of each and every universe. It was a monumental task, a quiet, lonely responsibility, but one she accepted without hesitation. Finally, her work was done. Myra stepped through the portal one last time, the familiar hum of her own lab welcoming her home. The world was the same, yet everything was different. She was different. The journey had changed her, imprinting the infinite scope of the cosmos onto her soul. That night, she stood under the familiar blanket of stars, but she no longer saw just distant points of light. She saw doorways. She saw an infinity of worlds, teeming with life, with stories, with possibilities. She was no longer just Dr. Aries Thorne, scientist. She was a traveler, a protector, a guardian of the multiverse. Her journey had just begun. Thank you for watching this cosmic adventure with us. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join us on our next journey into the unknown. See you next time.